Do you think kidnapping a child to save them makes sense? It sounds crazy, but that's exactly what Joyce and the others have to do in this episode of Stranger Things. And man, things are going to spiral out of control in ways you can't imagine. The episode begins in a barn where Derek, a boy around 10 years old, is tied to a chair. He's terrified, screaming and struggling. Joyce approaches him calmly, trying to calm the boy down. She explains that she knows he's scared and angry, but promises they're there to help. Derek doesn't believe any of it. He calls Joyce an evil child kidnapper. Joyce takes a deep breath and tries another approach. She says she's just a normal mother and points to Will. That's her son, the zombie boy.
A regular mom. That's my son, Will.
Derek recognizes the nickname right away. Joyce explains they call Will that because he died and came back to life. But what people don't know is that when Will disappeared, he was taken by a terrible, frightening monster. And now, that same monster is after Derek. Derek responds that he already knows this. Mr. Whatsit told him everything. That's exactly why he needs to leave. Joyce shakes her head and says, "No, Mr. Whatsit isn't who he says he is. He's lying to Derek. All these monsters work for him. That's why they brought Derek to that barn. They thought the barn was safe, but Whatsit found out where they are. So they need to move Derek again to a place where the monster can't find him." Joyce asks if Derek will cooperate and go with them if she unties the ropes. The boy hesitates, but after a while agrees. Joyce releases him and says, "Derek is a very brave child." She starts to say he's really very brave when suddenly Derek kicks her and runs off. He screams for help, saying he's being kidnapped.
Very brave.
Chaos ensues. Will and the others run after Derek, trying to stop him from escaping. Derek climbs a ladder leading to the barn roof, shouting that they're all psychopaths and are going to jail. Will tries to explain there's a monster coming, but Derek covers his ears and starts singing la 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 la, so he won't listen. Suddenly, something terrible happens. A Demogorgon appears. The monstrous creature emerges from nowhere, roaring and advancing toward the barn. Derek finally understands they were telling the truth. Joyce positions herself between the monster and Derek, holding an axe. She screams that if the monster wants the boy, it'll have to go through her first. The fight is intense. Joyce strikes the Demogorgon with the axe several times, while Will and the others protect Derek. Finally, they manage to take the creature down. Derek is in shock, trembling. They manage to save him, at least for now. Meanwhile, in another part of town, Steve, Jonathan, Nancy, and Dustin are in a crazy chase. They're following a Demogorgon using a special tracker that Dustin invented. The thing is running at high speed, and they need to keep up. Steve drives like crazy while Dustin monitors the signal on his headphones. The high-speed chase continues. Dustin yells that the Demogorgon has turned around and is coming back toward them. Steve hits the brakes, but then has a crazy idea. He compares the portals to those candies that have a crunchy shell on the outside, but are soft inside. If he accelerates enough, the car can go straight through to the upside down. Jonathan and Nancy think he's gone insane. They're going to crash, but the monster's signal is fading. It's now or never. Nancy looks at Steve and tells him to do it. Steve floors the accelerator. The car races toward the glowing red portal on the wall. Everyone screams in panic. They're going to crash. They're going to die. But no, the car passes through the portal like it's a curtain. On the other side, they're in the upside down. The sky is red. Everything is covered in strange vines, and particles float in the air. Dustin checks the tracker. The signal is strong. They made it. Steve celebrates, shouting that they got that son of a bitch. In another part of the story, Joyce is trying to contact Jonathan, Nancy, and Dustin over the radio. She calls several times, but no one responds. Through Will's mental connection to the Upside Down, they discovered something important. There's a place that's crucial to Vecna's plan, a place he didn't want Will to see. Hopper says they're going there. Meanwhile, Will has another vision. He sees Holly, Nancy's little sister, trapped in a strange tower.
Spire. She became a part of it somehow, like it was doing something.
She's connected to some kind of structure, as if she's being used for something. And there's more. It's not just Holly. There are 3 other children too. Vecna is collecting children. Everyone is shocked. They thought Vecna was only after Derek. But now, they know he wants 12 children in total. Why? What does he want to do with them? Mike looks at the drawing Will made of the vision. They're towers, like needles pointing to the sky. 8 towers still empty, waiting for more victims. The city is under quarantine. No one can leave. And there's more. The army is collecting the children. They saw soldiers putting several kids on a bus. Lucas explains he saw Debbie Miller being taken along with other children. It seems the military is trying to protect the children too. But how? Taking them where? Mike realizes Vecna isn't the only one who wants these children. The army wants them too. The tension increases when the military takes all children between 9 and 10 years old to a military base called Mac Z. 73 children in total. The group's plan is to get into the base, find out which children saw Mr. Whatsit, and get them out of there before Vecna takes them.
See, the north tunnel of the Mac Z runs right underneath the barracks.
Mike has a plan inspired by a movie called The Great Escape. In that movie, prisoners of war dig tunnels to escape. They call the tunnels Tom, Dick, and Harry. Mike thinks they should use the same strategy. Dig a tunnel that leads straight to the bathroom of the barracks where the children are. But who's going to go in there to help? Who can enter the military base without raising suspicion? The answer is obvious, but nobody wants to say it. Everyone looks at Derek. Derek can't believe what he's hearing. They want him to go back and infiltrate the military base, but he's just a kid. Mike explains that Derek is perfect precisely because of that. He's the only child the military couldn't catch. He can go in there, pretend he turned himself in, and help the other children escape through the tunnel. Derek swallows hard. He's scared to death, but he also understands it's the only chance to save everyone.
What?
He accepts the mission. Murray prepares an improvised sled for the tunnels, complete with seats, seatbelts, and even foam padding. He doesn't want to break any eggs during the escape. Derek enters the base and is taken to the barracks where the other children are. He uses the hidden radio to communicate with Mike and the others. 45 steps from the main entrance to the bathroom, he writes everything down. Now he needs to find out which children saw Mr. Whatsit. Derek makes a dramatic speech to the other kids. He says that Judgment Day has arrived and that he was sent by Mr. Whatsit to gather the chosen ones. If anyone was visited by Mr. Whatsit, they should follow him to the bathroom when night falls. He'll take them to safety. The other children look at him thinking Derek has lost his mind. One boy comments that Derek has completely snapped, but there's someone who approaches. It's a girl named Holly. She asks if Derek is talking about Henry. Derek doesn't understand who Henry is, but Holly confirms. Yes, it's about him. Meanwhile, Eleven and Hopper are on a dangerous mission on the other side of town. They need to enter a building that's full of military guards. There are watchtowers, patrolling soldiers, high fences. Hopper counts the guards. 2 in the west tower, 1 in the east tower, 4 on the ground.
2 grunts in the tower by the west gate.
It's going to be hard to get in there. Hopper notices there's thunder every 7 seconds. If Eleven jumps the wall exactly when the thunder strikes, the noise will muffle the sound of her landing on the metal roof. It's risky, but it might work. They count together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The thunder crashes and Eleven jumps. She makes it, lands perfectly without making a sound. Suddenly, Dustin makes radio contact. He reports they're in the Upside Down following the Demogorgon, but they hit a strange wall. It's a giant wall. Disgusting. That smells bad. Hopper responds that they hit the same thing, but in another part of town. It seems this wall forms a circle around everything. Dustin does calculations and discovers something incredible. The center of this giant circle is exactly where Hawkins' lab is located, the place where it all began. It can't be a coincidence. Something in that laboratory is creating this barrier. They need to go there and investigate.
The DOE, the Department of Energy.
Meanwhile, in a strange part of the Upside Down, Max wakes up. Yes, Max, who was in a coma, but she's not in the hospital. She's trapped inside Vecna's mind, in a place that looks like Hawkins but 30 years in the past. It's a prison made of memories. Max finds Holly, but not the real Holly. It's a version of her also trapped in Vecna's mind. Max explains to Holly that they're in a world similar to Camazot's from the book A Wrinkle in Time, a planet controlled by a giant evil brain. Max tells Holly the whole truth. She's been trapped inside Henry's mind, also known as Vecna, for a long time. Max tried to escape several times, following the Kate Bush song that Lucas played for her in the hospital. The song almost brought her back, but Vecna stopped her at the last second. Now she's trapped in a cave, the only place where Vecna can't enter. It's her sanctuary. But with Holly there, Max sees a new chance. She has a plan to escape, but it's going to take time. And meanwhile, Holly needs to go back to Vecna's house and pretend nothing has changed. Henry can't suspect anything. Holly is terrified at the idea of going back to that place, but understands it's the only way. At the military base, the rescue operation begins. Murray, Joyce, and the others start digging the tunnel underneath. Derek gathers the children who saw Mr. Whatsit and takes them to the bathroom. Everything is going according to plan, at least until a soldier realizes something is wrong. The soldier enters the bathroom and sees the children going down through a hole in the floor. He yells for backup. Derek and the children run through the tunnel as fast as they can, but when they exit the tunnels, something horrible happens. Demogorgons appear everywhere, dozens of them. It's a coordinated attack. Vecna sent all his creatures at once. The military base becomes a battlefield. Soldiers shoot with lasers while the monsters advance from all sides. Joyce protects the children with everything she has. Hopper and Eleven fight together against the creatures. But there are too many monsters. They're losing. Vecna appears in person. He's furious. He walks through the battlefield like a god of destruction. Vecna approaches Will. He looks at the boy with those dead eyes and starts to speak. He asks if Will can see the children trapped in the towers. Does he know why Vecna chose them? Because they're weak. Weak in body and mind. Easy to break, easy to mold, easy to control. They're the perfect vessels for his plan. And Will was the first. Vecna reveals that Will showed him what was possible. When Vecna possessed Will in Season 2, he learned how it works. Some minds simply don't belong to this world. They belong to his world. The episode ends with a brutal cliffhanger. Max and Holly are trapped in Vecna's mind. Will discovered he has powers over the hive mind, and Vecna is stronger and more furious than ever. The final war is just beginning, and our heroes are in greater danger than they've ever been.